convinced her to loosen up a little bit and explore her sexuality, and I guess he had awakened some things in her that she had never felt before, and she was wide open, and she threw him down and jumped on top of him. She said, I'm gonna pounce on you like a mountain lion. And he just kind of looked at her like, way too much.
Welcome back. You're tuned in to the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRBmedia,
the voice of the community.
I am Dr. Business.
And Lady Guns is here. That's greatness under no stipulation.
And I am Just Judea.
And I am Miss Divine.
Hey.
Family, if you're just joining us, we were having a wonderful conversation about influence, about passion, about name, knowing who your name is, knowing who you are and whose you are. And it took a turn.
Somewhere.
Now,
We went left at Albuquerque.
yeah.
Made a left turn at
And
Albuquerque.
where did we wind up?
In Talladega Nights.
Talladega
We were
Nights.
actually discussing how men are taught that they are a winner and a loser.
Right.
Like there is no
In
lessons
between.
learned.
Right, and I
Like
had
you
a
are
It's
question.
no
there.
longer how you play the game.
Yeah,
Forget
it's
that crap.
whether you win or lose.
Exactly.
Right.
By any means necessary.
By any, thank you. By
Right.
So
any means
I have
necessary.
a question for you.
Yes.
My question for you is, because boys are taught, you don't cry when you fall down and skin your knee. You don't, you know, all the things
don't
that
show
make
weakness.
you, oh man, a man. How do you think that affects you as a man when you get into a relationship or have
Well.
children? That plays a very big role because, and this is just from my perspective and the experiences that I've gone through with my husband. He did not know how to show love. He did not know how to connect with his daughters because his dad would beat him if he cried. Like, you're a boy, you're a man, man up. You don't do this, you don't do that. What makes your emotions different than ours? If you bleed, then it's gonna hurt. If you get cut, it's gonna hurt. If I get cut, it's gonna hurt. Do you not cry? Do I not cry?
I believe that is strategically why God said man should not be alone. Because he knew of the frailties, because he knew of the shortcomings that men would have in the area of emotions and nurturing, that in order to provide balance in the lives of offspring, there needed to be a woman in order to help balance what it is that he lacked. Obviously, in order to be successful in life, there's a certain amount of drive. There's a certain amount of go get it. There's a certain amount of tunnel vision. There's a certain amount of I'm just gonna balls to the wall type of scenario is how we as men are raised and taught from an early age, because we are the hunter, we are the provider. You don't come back unless you come back with prey. If you don't kill, we don't eat. That type of scenario. And that's needed.
Right.
But it has to be tempered and balanced with the love, the nurturing, the compassion of a woman who's able to help bring that balance. So I think it's a delicate balance that God was trying to create when he created man and woman, because he knew that both were needed in order to help raise a healthy child.
I have some feedback on that as it relates to relational wise and how a lot of men, honestly, and some women now are being trained with military. You
Don't
know,
point at me like I ain't got no feelings. She was like RoboCop right here. She bleeds black oil.
that's hilarious.
Smells like titanium.
I'm not saying it, but you're I'm assuming the only one here that has a military background, so you know what it's like to have to
Be in a third world country
and
and
refrain
yourself
from allowing emotions to overtake your logic. In other words,
Absolutely.
right. And
No, that's who you need to talk to right there.
hey, we gonna get there.
She the one that hones in and focus.
Oh, wow.
Go all matrix on you.
Wow.
together that strategic plan of escape and then circle back around with the pocketbook and hit you
She
upside
did
the
not
head.
have to put the focus on me, okay?
But the feedback I wanted to give is that, you know, it's very hard for, and I'm speaking for myself and other females that have not had to water down their emotional side or their nurturing side or their feminine or their feminine side, and dealing with select individuals who are very hardcore and have not been taught how to show emotion, or they feel and they don't know how to react or to those emotions that they're having. I guess when I say my feedback part, it's been very challenging to connect with people who are in that state of mind and who have seen nothing but trauma and just trauma, really haven't been taught to feel. And I'm speaking on the lines of men in this regard. My question is, how do you successfully penetrate that area in their mind and in their heart? Because the person feels, they're human. Mentally they have blocks up, emotionally they have blocks up. How does one who comes to love, care, nurture, and try to bring some type of balance, how do you penetrate the mind of someone who has been taught majority of their life to not show emotion, to keep that wall up, that block up, and that's all they pretty much know? And now, even if you have someone who is trying to penetrate that with love, penetrate that border, that boundary, and break through that wall, how do you successfully do that without hurting yourself and without causing even more damage to that individual?
I absolutely have I think the first mistake is trying to penetrate it. That's the first mistake. Because, like, in a relationship, when you meet someone, sometimes, I'm going to talk about me. I don't just open up with, you may read the profile, I don't like long walks on the beach. I like kite surfing and swimming with sharks. But whatever it is.
Me too.
Really?
Yes.
We got to hang out. But
sailing, jumping off airplanes.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Canyoning.
Mountain climbing.
Okay,
Yes.
there we go. But, sorry. Left back on Albuquerque, right. But trying to penetrate, anybody that you meet has a wall. They have a defense mechanism set up.
They should.
Right there, right. So they may be a little more receptive. They may be a giver, but I can love you. This was me. I can love you, but don't love me. It's not safe for you to love me because I don't want to be hurt. Not that you can't love me. I don't want to be hurt because I've been put through this whole, I think it's going to be great, and then it sabotages. But what I will say is that time is what allows you access. You can't penetrate it. You have to be granted access. Access will be denied until time gives them the comfort that the honeymoon phase is over.
Absolutely.
And you're still the same. Time will tell them that we've had our first argument and you didn't throw a chair at me, so this is who I have. Trauma has hit, the money's gone, the money's here, the house burned down, whatever it is. So you get to see those type of things where they will allow you, they're not going to swing the door wide open, just a little bit. And fear will keep them from letting you stay in. You may get in for a moment and think, oh my God, like he was so thoughtful, he was so cool, it was so nice, it was so whatever. And you make the mistake, or I make the mistake, or someone makes a mistake of thinking that is where they now reside.
Right.
So when you were allowed to look, but you could not touch. So when you find yourself back on the outside, you wonder what happened. It is a process, for someone that has been through either trauma or just not experienced a loving relationship.
When you mention time being a factor, what if you're dealing with someone who don't believe that you should put a time frame on anything?
Can I answer that? It's not about what that person believes in particular. It's what you believe, because you have control over what you do, how long you stay, what your limitations are. You control that 100%. They have to be the ones to figure it out. you don't figure it out for them. And above all things, God has to stay on the forefront. You have to seek wisdom from him. Lord, how do I get past that wall right there? What do I need to do? And a lot of times we're looking at the other individual when all along we should not be concentrating on them. God, how can I make me better?
Right.
How can I make me different?
How can I be an example
I be an
to
example,
him?
right? How do I open up a little bit more? How do I deal with my inner issues that I don't share? Because I don't want to find myself in a hypocritical position trying to get you to do something that I myself won't. So I think the first thing we have to do is work on us. And in working on us and God changing us and using us as an example, it's kind of building up a trust. Like, I see her. I'm not going to open up completely. I see she's got my back. I'm going to just give her a little bit. I'll take that little bit. Until you take it back from me, I'll accept it.
So what about, because I've gotten counsel from people who I feel like are logical and have some type of emotional understanding, and the feedback that I've gotten thus far is you need to take a step back, because for people who know me, I tend to give too much too quick. And when my counsel was telling me you need to take a step back, meaning if that person really wants you in their life and you take a step back, and I call it being mean or not necessarily selfish, but let's just say I call it being mean. That's not me. But they say just do not communicate. Just break communication for a while. Don't answer calls. Don't respond to texts, because if that person does not appreciate your presence, make them appreciate you in your absence, because you're doing too much. It's almost like you're pursuing them versus them pursuing you. And if they want you, if a man wants a woman, he's going to go after her. He's going to go get her. He's going to go obtain or secure what he values.
Absolutely.
And my feedback was, well, what if he hasn't been around me long enough to understand who I am? For me pulling back or pulling away, would that not mess things up? What God has for you is for you. I said, I truly believe that. So I think this person has experienced enough of me to know who I am and what I carry and the value that I have. So yes, I had to first determine that. I guess my next question is, should I pull back at this point if the person is not receptive?
Absolutely. There are several things that have been said. One thing that comes to mind is be all things to all people such that you might be able to win some. Obviously, in life, we wear different hats. So we treat people differently depending upon the role that they play in our lives. And we have to be cognizant of what that is so that we know how much to give and how much not to give, and where the line is drawn in the sand. Obviously, when it comes to relationships, men are pursuers, and men will pursue whomever they want. And it's not the woman's responsibility to pursue the man. It's the man's responsibility to pursue the woman. He who finds a good thing obtains favor from the Lord. So men are hunters. So sometimes women try to force round pegs into square holes.
Absolutely.
And it just doesn't fit. And we try to nurture, we try to force, we try to make what ought not be, be. And that's the wrong approach. Things should happen naturally, because God maketh rich and adds no sorrow to it.
Absolutely.
Therefore, if there's going to be no sorrow, then it has to be a natural fit. And you sense that within your spirit, that natural fit. And what will be, will be. God's will be done. So it shouldn't be a fight. It shouldn't be a struggle. It shouldn't be drama. It shouldn't be issues. It shouldn't be a headache. It shouldn't be waking up every day having to deal with this knucklehead all over again. It shouldn't be any of that.
And
it should be joy.
Like
it should be peace. It should be love. It should be happiness in the Holy Ghost. Every day should be Sunday. Yes, there'll be issues and there'll be problems and there'll be challenges, but the love of Christ will supersede them all. And in it all, both parties will see that silver lining that says we can make it through.
Absolutely.
I definitely agree. And then you also have to remember that one phrase, birds of a feather flock together, and scripture says, how can two walk together unless they agree?
That's right.
We have to come into anything in an agreement. Because if you and I walk into a situation and you already have your point of view about things and it's different than mine, that's a problem from the beginning. There's no agreement. And
So
it's just
two people should agree on everything?
No.
Should agree on the non-negotiables.
Right.
Because everybody has
Okay, I can
non-negotiables when they enter into a relationship, and depending upon what those non-negotiables are, you have to agree on those areas. Everything else we can negotiate.
And then as women, we tend to alter or we tend to compromise our beliefs. We tend to overlook what he's doing or not doing. We tend to make excuses for them and justify it. And in doing that, we begin to see things wrong with us. That's not even wrong. Well, maybe if I fix my hair different.
Right.
Well, maybe if I dress
Right.
different. Well, maybe if I lose weight. Maybe if I gain
Right.
a little bit of weight. Well, maybe if I cook often. Maybe you need to stop
Be you.
and pull back.
be real.
Because if he does not love you and accept you for you, he's not for you.
Right.
Just plain and simple, anything that God does is easy. If you go into a situation where you have to make adjustments and fix, God is not in that
Yes.
at all. He just said, walk into your blessing. Man that finds a wife finds a good thing. He didn't say he
Obtains
gonna
favor
find
from the
her
Lord.
and then he gonna change her and fix her up the way. Because a
Exactly.
lot of times
You're gonna come
we don't know what
already
we
perfect
want.
for me.
Right. We don't know what we want. So now I'm out on this quest to change you to be the kind of man or woman that I think I want. And then when you become that person, I despise you.
Yes.
And
just
God
like
is-
the scene in White Chicks where they're at the table and
Terry Crews,
right, and
the Wayans brother.
right,
Don't you
he's
say-
he's farting
Oh my God.
and
Right,
belching
right.
and scratching,
Trying to be
and
everything that
that
would
he-
attract and
Right.
turn him off, and he's like,
he loved that. So
Yes.
whoever you are, if you are farter, fart.
hey,
Hey,
if
that's
you
what
are
I'm
lean
saying.
back.
if you a scratcher, scratch. Whoever you are, whatever you are.
Girl, you love him.
You
Take your wig off and throw it
do
across the room.
Exactly.
No.
Yes.
Whip it
Listen,
like a
I'ma tell y'all
helicopter.
something. I don't.
Yes.
I've always been natural, right? I cut my locks after they got way down to my thighs, and it was horrible because I couldn't sleep or anything. So I cut my shaved all the way bald. I love me. I don't care what I look like. I love me in the morning, in the evening, and in the
Yes.
afternoon.
Yes.
I love me on my best day and on my worst day. Every day I look in the mirror, I say, girl, you are something that God created.
Absolutely.
Honey, that nobody can fix or change
Yes.
because you're perfect just the way you are. We have to learn to affirm
Appreciate.
ourselves.
Right.
And so I was out. My daughter convinced me to wear a wig, right? And we're out, and during that time, I was going through the change, and and I started sweating profusely. And I'm saying, Nay, I'm sweating. I gotta get this out my hair, out my face. And then I finally couldn't take it. We were in the public, and I took my wig off.
Yep.
She was like, "Oh my God, mommy, what?"
Right.
I said, "So are you telling me that my hair defines my beauty?"
Ooh.
Right.
No,
Right.
That's right.
my
That's
beauty
right.
defines. My
Everything.
beauty is a quintessential being of who I am. Everything else that I add to it is an accessory.
And if he's
Absolutely.
gonna love you because of that,
That.
extension, because of that hair,
Absolutely.
because of that wig,
He can go
you don't
marry
need
the
to be with him.
extension.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly,
exactly.
Like, I need you to love me in the morning when my breath smells like
That's right.
death froze over, and you can say, "Baby, I love you," but go brush your teeth.
Exactly.
Morning.
You know what everybody would just if you're
I start
and
running.
already know
It's a test.
not. It's you already know it's tart. Okay?
Right.
Good
right.
morning, boo. I'll see you
How
in a
you
minute.
doing?
And go and do your thing. But most of all, to thine own self be
Be
true.
True.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Period.
That's right.
It doesn't matter. I'm at the phase of my life right now. I am what you see is what you get. You guys will see me today. This time 3 years from now, I don't change. This is me. I love who I am. I love who God is creating me to be.
Right.
I love the changes he's making in my life. And if you can't keep up, I'll pray for you. But I'm not going to stop being who I am.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Because you're uncomfortable
Right.
with
Yes.
me.
Yes.
That's
Right.
your issue. It's not
That's
mine.
right.
I won't
And a lot of
dim
times
my
we
light
will
because
say-
you can't stand my shine.
Right, because
That's
you
right.
can't stand my shine. Listen, put on some shades.
Right.
Exactly.
There
And
you
then you'll
go.
be able to look at this beauty a little bit longer.
And I think, and it's divine, when you think about the divinity that God has defined you and the name that he has given you, if you were to put a price tag on it, are you casting your pearls before swine?
Right.
Are you literally,
That's good.
why, if God he would bless you with the absolute best, he named you so. And if the relationship is not bringing you a divine experience, if it is not a treasure, if it is not royalty, it doesn't mean that every day is going to be rainbow and gumdrops. But the difference between it is that when it's not, you're not standing alone, but you have
Absolutely.
someone standing in the rain with you by your side saying, we're going to figure this umbrella out. I don't know how it works, but you wet, I'm wet. Oh, well.
Right,
We
right,
we
right.
wet together until we figure it out. But you have to continuously be reminded of who God said you were.
That's it.
And his promise to you. He would never give you anything that would destroy you.
That's right.
He would never give you anything that would bring you down. And it is not your responsibility
Absolutely.
to make someone else see your value or value themselves either.
Because
Only
at the
through
end of the
example.
day, people is crazy.
Very crazy.
They're crazy.
Yeah, they crack right.
Some mild, some severe.
Extreme.
But you got to work out your own soul
Soul salvation.
salvation.
That's right.
I can't
I can't
fix you. So
Right.
if we don't fit and you can't get with me and I can't get with you and it's not that natural fit,
That's
then
right.
that means you perfect for somebody
someone else.
Right,
Just
right.
not perfect for
For
me.
me.
Right. And there are
That's
people that
right.
are out there that will take advantage of the goodness and the kindness, knowing they're not worthy. They will never invest and they will never buy in and they will never return because they know they're not worthy. It's kind of like you driving a car and
They're like a
know,
leech.
yeah, they're like a leech. But even doing something, like I've gone to stores before and they rung up something and it was a lower price than expected. I'm looking like, is anybody called? Like, is it a blessing or a mistake? Like, should I say something or should I not say something? All right, she ain't gonna say nothing. Then
Girl,
the
no,
little
you better
alarm
give me that
didn't go out.
blessing.
Right, the alarm didn't go off, anything like that. But that person literally may understand that they are not, and they're afraid that one day you're gonna wake up and see how unworthy they are.
Right.
And you're going to stop. So I'm not going to pour into something I know I don't deserve.
Right.
I'm not going to invest into something I know I can't afford. But I'm going to take as much as I can until they find out I ain't supposed to be here. And I'm going to do that. And what God has for you can't get to you with messing away.
Mess.
That's
That's,
right.
right.
Cannot get to you with the trash. You can't put new wine in old
Old
skins.
skin.
That's
It's
right.
gonna burn.
That being
So-
said, we're going to take a break.
How can people get in contact with you?
With me,
Yeah.
through prayer.
Okay.
No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Tender swipe right.
They can get in contact with me by calling me. Google Voice, 980-220-2424, 980-220-2424. Also, definitely need people to follow me on Instagram, or the company on Instagram, which is Divine Touch Multimedia, DIVINE Touch Multimedia. You can also follow me on Instagram at I Am Miss Divine. That's IAMMSDIVINE. And on Facebook, Divine Touch Multimedia LLC. Oh, and check out the website, Divine Touch Multimedia. So everything is pretty much the same. Yep.
What about you?
Oh, me. Hey, y'all. It's me again, Just Judea. You can be reached by watching us. But I can be reached. Phone number 980-221-5446. You can also follow me on Instagram. Always come out on top. That's me. And on Facebook, just look under Judea Freeman and you will see everything and contact information and everything. I'm not going to give you my address because there's stalkers out there. So
Hey,
Bless.
you're right.
People don't use snail mail anymore. So,
yeah,
yeah.
I do.
I do too.
Oh, Jesus.
I got stairs right
To the Profit and Growth Hour here on WDRBmedia, the voice of the community.
Got a book of stamps yesterday.
Girl, I keep a book of stamps in my wallet.
Make no sense.
bought 3 books.